Welcome to Your Daily 5 with Jane Gallina, also known as Airplane Jane. I am accessible on social media at Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, my website, cjanetrade.com, and also my email, jane@cjanetrade.com. If you'll ever have any questions or comments about the stock potential trades that I do mention, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help. All right, we have seen that this year, the energy sector, in particular oil, has been performing amazing. And it looks like there's not going to be a slowdown. We have our monthly meetings of OPEC, and they're not increasing their production at this time. So all of my energy is concentrated on the longest and strongest, right? So we want to stick with those stocks that are performing well. Right now, we do have all of our oil stocks pretty much breaking out, setting up with new highs. So right now we have pulled back just a little bit on Conoco Phillips, and that break above 118 again is going to continue to move up. You can see with our RSI here, even though we are hovering up around the top, it still continued to grind higher overall. If we do tend to pull back a little bit, I would use roughly that 115 level as my support. Hey, if we break this, let's get out. Let's look at it on the weekly chart. So right here on the weekly chart, you can see we do have a bit of selling up here and a potential for it to come back down. But at the moment, we are not seeing any sort of slowdown from the industry. People are back to work. People are driving for the summer. We just had Memorial Day, and people are out there on the move. We also see XOM. XOM, great potential. We have this 100 resistance, a rough area. A lot of people would say, hey, I got in down here at roughly $60, $50. I want to see and lock those profits at 100. So I would watch that level for resistance. Let's look at it on that bigger picture again. Over here, we see, yep, we are close to breaking out, and we have some selling that has occurred. However, every time that we've had selling, it has surged higher. Those shorts that are getting in are getting squeezed. So keep that in mind. Be careful. Let the chart show you when to get into the downside. Also, Chevron. Many of these also have great dividends. So a lot of dividend investors are looking at this saying, hey, I can get a positive return on my money, not only in the growth. Look at this, 120 up to 180, 50% gains in less than 6 months, right? Where else in the market are you seeing that? Pretty much since the Fed started raising interest rates and slowing back and tapering on their purchasing of federally backed securities, that we are seeing this market contract. So for the most part, I am bearish on the market. An increase in oil prices is going to raise the costs of everything for most businesses. So looking for oil for that long trade right now. If this can break above 180, again, we had a bit of a drawdown, found support down here, roughly 173, looking for that bigger move to the upside. Let's check it out on our weekly chart. We can see, yes, we have that potential move right here, big selling that occurred, and then we have a bit of a short squeeze, right? We had a bigger volume candlestick selling right here, roughly at 170, hovered around sideways, pull back, and next leg up. Looking at the sector as a whole, we have USO. The USO is based on the CL futures oil contracts. Now, we did see this go all the way down to $1, $2. We had a split, I believe, and now it is all the way up to 90, right? Because March of 2020, when OPEC was meeting quarterly, we went into negative numbers for the oil contracts. Now we are seeing that there is a resurgence as there is a slowdown in production, right? We had the fracking that was stopped by Joe Biden and some oil lease contracts that have been put on hold. So looking for this to continue to grind higher until we see moves, in my opinion, from OPEC or any legislation that's really going to happen. All right. We've even had more than a couple, but we've had Biden releasing some of the surplus oil from the oil reserves. However, it has not been enough to really affect the price of oil. So looking for this to break out, test that 90 area, I would use roughly 87.50 as my support here. Let's look at it on a weekly and look for this to continue to grind on up. We might be seeing USO hit $100. Now, of course, oil is a big cost of many things, but in particular in the aviation industry. For airlines, it is 1 and 2, with labor as being the biggest expense of an airline. So the inverse trade to oil surging, so that seeing this large cost for the airlines, I would be looking for potential short or bear trades in the aviation sector. So watching Jet's global ETF to see, are we going to break above that 20 area? We somewhat have an upward wedge right here. Is this going to break to the downside and come back down roughly to 17? We will see. We're in the middle of our RSI up here. It does look like we're moving up a little bit on the MACD, but that slowdown is occurring. With the cost of fuel being so much, it will really affect the bottom line. When we look at it on the weekly chart, you can see we have flipped to be in a bearish mode as of October of last year on the moving averages, testing that 50 simple moving average, actually even further back, July of last year. So watching this, as long as we stay below that 50 SMA on the weekly chart, I am bearish on this. We have the shorter term 24 EMA here, roughly 2080. So looking for this, we have big selling. We also had buying volume at 20, but there was a lot of selling above us, not too much buying below us over the last year. So looking to see, is this going to come back down, correct back down to $15, and then have a potential for a buying opportunity. Once we start to see that slowdown in oil, it will be a sector that should perform fairly well once that large cost is diminished. So keep your eye on the airlines, Jets ETF as an inverse trade to the oil sector surging up to the upside. A lot of this comes as well with experience in following the dark pools, seeing the big money prints of the market and following that big money trade. So if you have an interest, please come over to thedarkpools.com and join me in the training pit. And that is your Daily 5 with Jane Gallina. Carpe Profit, seize those profits one trade at a time.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.